Welcome to A Healthier, Happier You, the people working to make it happen. I'm Evan J. Cholfin from Luxhammer, where we help the brands that help you live healthier. Today I'm joined by Tom DiPietro, Vice President of Research and Development at DayGlo. Their fluorescent color technology is making our world safer and brighter, from high visibility safety gear protecting workers to medical devices helping save lives, to vibrant colors enhancing our daily experiences. Tom, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Evan. I'm glad to be here.
So, what's the story behind DayGlo's leadership in fluorescent technology?
Yeah, DayGlo is an interesting story. It's a company that was founded in Cleveland, Ohio, by a couple of brothers. They essentially invented fluorescent pigments. So you're talking to the home of fluorescent pigments for the whole world. And the pigments themselves are manufactured here in our Cleveland plant. They're based on sort of a polymer resin or a plastic, and then they have colors embedded in them. So I mean, that's our technology that we've sold since the 1940s, to be frank with you. And we supply into all sorts of industrial industries: paint, plastic, printing, textile coloration, toys, packaging, and we have a small personal care and cosmetic business too. All around that fundamental technology of the polymer-based pigments.
That's amazing. And how has your R&D approach evolved in recent years?
Yeah, so with us, I'd say the recent trend for R&D and the color on the personal care and the industrial side is around health and safety and chemicals of concern. One of our sort of fundamental products, foundational products for this business uses a formaldehyde. And formaldehyde, several years ago, has been classified as a suspect human carcinogen. And there's a lot of formaldehyde in the industry. It's used in textile finishes and wood composites. So there's a lot of formaldehyde containing products in the world. So our products, we've made a focus to sort of come up with formaldehyde-free alternatives for a lot of different industries: toys, apparel, personal care. So that's been a real foundational R&D thing for us, probably for well over a decade.
That's great. So, what innovations are you most proud of?
We have a couple things. I was talking about the personal care side. About 2.5 years ago, we introduced a cosmetic product based on a natural rice protein. And it's fully biodegradable, sustainably sourced. One of the other trends that I didn't mention is in fact, this sort of polymer construction puts us sort of in what's called a microplastic. All you have to do is search about microplastics. You'll find thousands of articles about it. And essentially that designation just describes anything less than 5 millimeters made out of a polymer. So that sort of hits our products. So the rice protein product for the personal care is in fact not classified as a microplastic. So it's sustainable, it's plant sourced, it's vegans and kosher and non-GMO certified. So that's a pretty big change for us, I think, to use plant proteins as a source of products. We've been working, it's still not commercial, but we're working very, very hard to make some biodegradable polymers for some industries. So that's a big focus. I'm proud of the work we've done. We're just not ready to introduce it into the market yet. Really just our long journey and evolution of making the products more and more safe, looking carefully at the chemicals of concern, making sure that we put the safest and the most efficacy products out into the market. It's really an approach. And I think it's really a difference between us and the other competitors in this business. I should mention that we're the only ones left in the United States that actually make these products. So all the other people that manufacture products, fluorescent products, are imported from other countries. And sometimes some of those manufacturers don't take the care or understand the health and safety aspects that require to do business in the United States. So I'm proud of that record too, because we're probably at the forefront of sort of making sure that we produce the safest and best products for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. What role does your technology play in medical and safety applications?
So for medical devices, they're FDA regulated. So the areas of personal care, cosmetic colors, drugs, and food colors are all FDA regulated products. And the colorants are highly regulated. They will tell you that we don't have anything you could actually use in sort of medical devices. Now that said, fluorescent colors are used to denote things and to have them set off. I don't know if it's truly a medical device, emergency equipment and emergency safety equipment, emergency vests, all that is brightly colored. But I'd say in general, we're not really used a lot in sort of medical applications or medical devices. All those areas are regulated by FDA as far as the colorants. Talk about particularly cosmetics, and it's kind of an interesting story. People think FDA regulates the cosmetic ingredients. It's absolutely not true. Most of the cosmetic ingredients are regulated by the producers. The only thing they do regulate is color. Colorants are highly regulated. You have to use only specific colors in personal care, drugs, and food, and they have to meet FDA specifications. They actually do FDA certification. They're certified to meet purity and identity standards. So yeah, we're not heavily used in the medical field.
How would you say your color solutions impact people's daily well-being?
It's an interesting question. What color makes you happy? I mean, bright colors are generally pleasant and unhappy things. I mean, that's a part of well-being. I mean, visual appeal is a big deal, I think. So there's been a lot. We've had these sort of fashion booms or busts where the fluorescent colors are very popular, particularly sportswear and apparel. I think when people are wearing bright colors, they feel good about themselves. There was a big sportswear boom around 2014, 15, and 16. Seems like they go into cycles where the bright colors are popular, then the more earth tones are more popular, and then the bright colors come back. So we're hoping for those bright colors to come back again. But I mean, that's it. I think color is an important part of day to day, and bright colors are happy colors, right?
Absolutely. So, changing topics a little bit, what's been your biggest R&D challenge this year?
Well, that project I told you about, the biodegradable, this has been very, very difficult to meet the criteria to be listed as truly biodegradable, and also make the material as sort of a functional pigment. So sometimes the two things are opposites, right? You need something that's sort of inert, but also that can be water swellable and bacteria and fungi eat. And so it's very difficult to sort of get those two things together in a proper package. That's been a challenge. I'd say in general, developing products that meet the consumer's needs, whether it be for chemicals of concerns or different performance attributes. One of the interesting problems or drawbacks to fluorescent coloring is, in general, they're not very light stable. So this is why you don't paint your car fluorescent pink or orange, because there's some chemistry and physics involved in it. But overall, the materials don't hold up well long term under prolonged sunlight exposure. So that is a constant focus of us to try to improve that performance. As long as this business has been around, we've been trying to improve the light stability of the products to make them more and more durable.
That's great. What common misconceptions do you see about fluorescent technology?
Yeah, some people think they're radioactive. I've seen that before. It's absolutely not true. I've seen some literature or publications where people, say all fluorescents have formaldehyde in them and you shouldn't use them, and that's not true. Like I say, we spent decades or more to make formaldehyde-free alternatives. So I've seen that show up in some textile blogs and things like that, where people comment on neon colors or fluorescent colors. That's about it. You see the radioactive thing, which is kind of funny. I can't think of another one other than sometimes people will malign the health and safety, again, sort of associate them with formaldehyde. And in fact, we have formaldehyde-free options for just about every.
Yeah, definitely. How do you address that misconception?
You talk to people. We have white papers, like the rice protein product that we brought out. We did a lot of publicity around that. We won a couple awards for it. It's difficult with the textile sector because most of that's not made here in the United States. It's made overseas, and so it's for us. It can be a difficult market to penetrate, understand, and get the message across. Almost all your clothing that we wear here, none of it's made in the United States.
Yeah, well, that's certainly a challenge upon itself, I would imagine. Yeah. So, changing subjects again a little bit, what are your key R&D priorities for 2025?
For 2025, we continue down the sort of biodegradation, aka microplastic free products. This is a big priority. We have a developing non-fluorescent business. We make a lot of pigment dispersions and polymers for the traditional paint and coating industry, it's a business that we're trying to build out here, become more and more of our daily business, because the fluorescent has this boom and bust cycle in it. we try to develop this sort of traditional paint, fluorescent, and polymer business to help sort of smooth out those fashion booms and busts. So that's a big focus for our company, right? We have a sister company in Europe called Radiant Color, and we invested a tremendous amount of money over there to build a new polymer center of excellence. So they're trying to build polymer solutions for the paint coating industry over there as well too. Because as I mentioned to you, with the fluorescent colors are actually a polymer-based technology. So we have scientists that are good on the polymer side of it. We try to push them into the traditional paint coating side. That's a big focus in our group in Europe too.
That's great. And how do you identify promising new research directions?
We try to see what's developing. Like I say, chemicals was concerned. What's sort of the bad actor of the day? There's a lot of lists that come up. Europe is very active in regulating chemical substances. So you try to keep ahead of that. You look at what customers are asking. A big business of shoe manufacturing, and there's some challenging challenging materials to color, some expanded plastics and rubbers that can be hard for some of our products. So just listen to the customers and see what they're looking for.
That's really interesting. What's your process for validating new technologies?
So we have a pretty extensive laboratory here in Cleveland, Ohio. So we can do a lot of sort of testing like that our customers do. Like we have injection molders and blow molders there, and printing presses, and so on the lab scale, we can do the work here and do the testing here. But ultimately, the products, we'll send them out for sort of like beta testing at a customer site. In fact, we just sent some things out this week to a shoe manufacturer in Brazil. So to test, it looks, in our laboratory, it looks, it functions, but you really need it to get it into the hands of somebody who does that, day to day as a business. So that's sort of the next step. They go off to a customer site and you try to get their feedback, and then they come back, you make adjustments and go back again. So it's real important that back and forth with the customers to understand that you meet their expectations.
So what emerging technologies could transform color innovation?
On the fluorescent side, there's what's called solid state fluorescent pigments. And we have like one of them right now. And they are durable. They have exterior durability. So I think solid state colors on the fluorescent side is an interesting technology. Could change our business tremendously if you have light stable products that you could put in durable finishes. I'd say in general, though, the color business is pretty staid, to be frank with you. Dye and pigment development, there's not a lot of that going on. Most of it's moved offshore. So in the color world, people generally work on trying to improve the way it's sent to the customer. And what I mean is, like, they could have surface treatments that make it easier to disperse, or they sell it as pre-dispersed. So it's sort of preparations. Brand new dyes and pigments are really very rare. We're lucky in the way that we construct products here where we can combine sort of that polymer and dye together, that we have access to a lot of innovation on the polymer side. Whereas traditional pigments, you don't have that sort of innovation space to work. But I mean, in general, a trend with colors is natural, particularly in like food and cosmetics. Natural colors is a big trend. I don't see that transferring into the industrial space at all, just because the materials aren't very stable. I think just moving the products in the format in which they're supplied to the customer to make it easier for the customer to use, whether it be extrusion or dispersion or making paint or making whatever your product is, but that's sort of the trend.
Research areas will be crucial to master in the coming year.
For us, it's, again, I keep harping on this biodegradable thing, but that is like such a key area for us to sort of get us out of this microplastic classification. For a lot of consumer applications, toy is one of them, potentially apparel. We have some products that are used in wildfire chemicals, so it's important that you have sort of sustainable, degradable materials that you drop all over the aquifers, particularly on the big forest fires.
And how will that impact people for the better?
Making products that are safer is always good for everybody. Products that don't have chemicals concern in your clothing, your apparel, your children's toys is going to be better. I think eliminating microplastics out of potential water and aquifers, oceans and streams is good. Things that degrade rather than persist in the environment, that's going to help overall in the long term.
Well, can't wait to see that innovation come to pass.
I can't either. We've been working on it for a long time. It's a very difficult project, so I can't wait.
Yeah, well, soon enough, it'll come to pass, right?
I think so. It's inevitable. We just have to keep working. We're working very hard on it.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. That's it for today's episode of Healthier, Happier You.
Yeah.
The people working to make it happen.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me the time to talk about color and pigment. But color's everywhere. You don't think about it. You look at everywhere around you. It's in your clothing, your apparel, your building materials.
Yeah, huge thank you, Tom, and for sharing how DayGlo's innovations and color technology make your world not just brighter, but safer and healthier. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit. If your brand or business making impact in health, wellness, or personal care, we'd love to help you grow. Connect with me at luxhammer.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep making a difference.